the Ring Generals. I am your host, Eric Santos, and right now we just got done with just watching AEW's Fight for the Fallen. And this was, of course, proceedings, all charities, all the money was directed to victims of gun violence. I thought this was actually, a good cause, if anything, for anybody who has been a victim for gun violence. Yeah, so definitely let's get into the review, shall we? I know Nick and Ryan would have loved to do the review, but we'll be in touch with you soon about that. I'm pretty sure they'll fill you in with more, but this is just my take for AEW's Fight for the Fallen. So let's get to it, shall we? All right, so the first match for the buy-in show, which only had about basically two matches. So it was Sonny Kiss versus Peter Avalon. Shout out to Peter Avalon, who we saw over at Bar Wrestling with the Bachelor Party and other shows that we've seen him as well. I thought it was a pretty good match. I thought it was a pretty good, decent match. I was a little bit concerned over the fact that the match was, it was more of a, I wouldn't say like performance, but I thought the match was solid. They didn't really do like any goofiness, like any silly stuff, kind of like what happened at Fighter Fest. Although I do feel like some of the production for the beginning of the match would have been a little bit better. The announcers, again, they were still a little bit off, but I felt like there was some sort of improvement, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. So stay tuned for that. The second match, B Priestley, who I've actually was in a way curious to see her perform because I never seen her perform, and she teamed up with Nakajami to take on Britt Baker, Dr. Britt Baker, that is, and Rio. Solid match. I thought it was a really good match, fast paced. I thought it was. They told great stories. It was, in a way, it was pretty unique too. They kept the match, solid. They kept the match in a way simple, and that's the good thing about right now for AEW is the fact that they are making these wrestlers somewhat, just wrestle. That's the thing, and I think that from once we get to TNT, they should just have these wrestlers just wrestle. I mean, you can still have the goofy nonsense stuff, but in a way, just have these women wrestle. The only complaint about this match, it's not about the match itself. B Priestley and Nakajami, won them. They won the match. And sorry, Sonny Kiss, he did win the match up against Peter Avalon. So B Priestley and Nakajami, they did win the match. But the only thing that I was complaining about, it was the fact that there was closed captions out of nowhere. They showed closed captions in the way, and that really affected the match in a way. So I couldn't really see what was going on in a way. I mean, sure, it was, it's kind of like a small little thing that I wanted to point out, but I thought that I think the Bleacher Report, I mean, the Bleacher app might have had something to do with it, or maybe they did on purpose or whatever, or I don't know. But I thought that they would have, took off the closed caption, but apparently they didn't. They did not at all. So I, for one, that's one of the complaints that I would give about, that match, basically. And it actually went on to one of the interviews. I think it might have been with Cody and no, wait, sorry, it was Kip Sabian. Yeah, they were interviewing Kip Sabian. Promo was a little bit mixed. The interview was a little bit mixed, but at the end, Kip Sabian, he delivered a message to Adam Hangman Page, and I thought it was a pretty good promo towards the end. In the beginning, it was a little bit, I don't know, it was a little bit shaky for me, at least in my opinion. But we'll get to that a little bit later. So on to the event itself. So the event started now that the buy-in was over with. Shawn Spears teaming up with MJF, teaming up with Sammy Guevara to take on Jimmy Havoc, Darby Allin, and Joey Janella. I thought it was a pretty good match. Some pretty good spots right there. Although it was a little bit weird when they had MJF to team up with Shawn Spears, because in a way it kind of ruins somewhat the character. I'm not going to say the character of MJF, but it, MJF is supposed to be this complete, asshole and this complete jerk in the ring. And I actually thought to myself, why would you have him to team up with Shawn Spears, a guy who gave a vicious chair shot to Cody at the Fighter Fest show? I mean, why would you do that? That's one of the things that I kind of, in a way, was confused, and in a way, like MJF wanted to attack Shawn Spears towards the end of the match. At the end, I thought it was a pretty good match. Shawn Spears, MJF, and Sammy Guevara won the match, but MJF, it looks like he wanted to attack Shawn Spears because of the fact that what Shawn did to Cody. I thought, if you want to keep MJF like the heel guy, like the true heel face, I just have him be separated as far as possible from Shawn Spears, because Shawn Spears, they're building him up to be this heel to take on Cody at All Out. I'm pretty sure. I mean, it is going to happen. So if you really want to keep MJF as like a complete jerk, and you want to also keep Shawn Spears a jerk too, like a complete asshole, or like a true heel, just keep them separated. That's what I would do if I was a booker. So Jimmy Havoc and Darby Allin and Joey Janella, I thought they did a pretty good job of providing some pretty good spots, high flying risks, story told in that one. But overall, I thought it was a pretty good, awesome match. So far so good in the show. Ali versus Brandi Rhodes, chief Brandi officer, from what they say, to Brandi Rhodes. I thought this match was. I thought it was an okay match. Okay, I thought it was an okay match because the fact that I never seen Brandi wrestle. Okay, so I wanted to give her somewhat the overall advantage to her, to see, okay, let's see what she can offer. Let's see what she brings to the table. But, at the end, I just thought to myself that, I mean, the match itself, it was kind of clunky at the end. There was I wouldn't say incident, but what happened was that Ali, she stuck to the ropes. She grabbed the ropes, and it looked like what Brandi was doing. What she was doing was that she was calling her to come up to her, and so what happened was that she told her, like, hey, run to me. And in a way to, I guess you can say, like, the thing to me is that when you have these wrestlers, talk out loud, and to tell her or him, hey, I'm gonna do the spear, and you're gonna take the pinfall. So I thought to myself, I don't know. I thought that that move was, the finish wasn't all that good. But in a way, I thought the cool thing about the match was that they brought in Awesome Kong in this one. And so looks like we're going to be seeing Awesome Kong to team up with Brandi Rhodes in the future, maybe All Out. This might set a feud with Ali again later on in the at the maybe October or somewhere around there. But overall, I thought it was a good. I thought it was okay match. Brandi Rhodes just took the win. So that's all I can say about that. Hold up. Okay. So I was just right now figuring the mic levels. So the other match, which I was looking at, of course, the next one that was coming up, Jack Evans and Angelico, Lucha Underground guys, to take on Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus versus Evil Uno and Stu Grayson of the Dark Order. We've seen these guys over at the Double or Nothing pay-per-view. They attacked Jack Evans and Angelico and the Best Friends. If you remember this match, I thought it was a solid match. I thought it was a really awesome, just spots all over the place. I thought the match was just an overall, I would say like a 9 out of 10 in that one. I mean, these guys just threw out whatever they could, a lot of flips, story told, so many move sets and counters after counter. And I thought it was just an awesome match overall. I thought that For me personally, I was actually going for Jack Evans and Angelico. No disrespect to Luchasaurus or Jungle Boy. I love those guys. But I just went with the guys that I knew from Lucha Underground. Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. I've seen them at bar wrestling before. They're great tag team together, and that actually sets in the future to be, I can see them future tag team champions, since that's going to be happening. Well, this basically what it was that whoever won the match, they'll be able to go to All Out and go at the buy-in show to get a chance to go and compete at the tournament, the tag team tournament, to determine the tag team champions. So that they gave an overall advantage for for anybody out there, an open invitation, and the Evil Uno and Stu Grayson won the match. Dark Order, no complaints about it. They won fair and square. I thought it was a pretty good match. Shout outs to them, and we'll see what happens at the All Out pay-per-view when that happens. Next match, Adam Hangman Page up against Kip Sabian. This match, at first, it started a little bit slow, but then towards the end, man, they were actually, so since they're limited on time, it's 19 minutes. So, 20 minutes. So the match actually ended up, they actually only had 60 seconds to left in the match. And so what happened was that the match was solid. Story told, of course. I thought it was awesome. Adam Hangman Page, I think he may have busted his knee again, but it looked like Sabian and Sabian, he's one of the few guys that I rarely see, in the wrestling scene or independent scene, and he's got a bright future. He lost the match, but at the end, I think Kip Sabian, this match showed what he was all about. So I give full credit to him, Adam Hangman Page. Much love to him, and he's a great performer. I thought he did a pretty good job out there with a busted knee, and he, at the end, what happened was that once Adam Hangman Page won the match, he got attacked by none other than this masked man, and it happened to be Chris Jericho. The match was going to happen, so the match is going to happen between Hangman Page and Chris Jericho, at All Out, to determine the heavyweight champion, the AEW champion. So we're definitely looking forward to that. Next match, the Lucha Brothers up against SCU, SoCal Uncensored, and it was Scorpio Sky teaming up with Frankie Kazarian to take on Pentagon Jr. and Phoenix. The match, I thought, of course, I think it should be like the highlight of the night. Not because I love the Lucha Brothers, but just how these guys just kept going at it one after another. And I was actually concerned over the fact that the Lucha Brothers might lose that match, because they've been losing some of these matches, these past few matches, well, fair and square. I mean, they lost to the Young Bucks. They lost to, I forgot. Yeah, because they lost at Double or Nothing, and they lost over at Fyter Fest. So in a way, the Lucha Brothers, these guys, they have a bright future in AEW, and it would have broken my heart if they would have lost, but that wasn't the case tonight. They won the match. Lucha Brothers won the match. Awesome performance by these four individuals. Then what happened was at the end of the night, well, not at the end, it was actually at the end of the match. What happened was that the SCU, they attacked the Lucha Brothers and with a ladder, I guess, and so, yeah, it was a ladder. And so what happened was that, the Lucha Brothers, got the better of them, and the Lucha Brothers brought the ladder. They set up the ladder, they got on top of it, and Pentagon Jr. and Phoenix announced that they are challenging the Young Bucks at All Out to a ladder match. That just completely raised the stakes for this one. So I am totally sold for All Out. It looks like All Out's going to be good. The Young Bucks versus the Lucha Brothers in the ladder match. Anything can happen. If I would have to go for somebody, which tag team I would go for in that match, the Lucha Brothers. Definitely, they lost the Young Bucks before. Now it's time for them to redeem themselves and get that revenge and, one up them again. So we'll be seeing that in the future. The Lucha Brothers came out victorious, like I said. They beat SCU. SCU, where do they go from here? We'll find out at All Out. Next match, it was Kenny Omega versus Shima, in which they say that it was much more of a dream match. In this one, they were building this match up. So I would think that this match really spot on. This match was, man, one hell of a match. It's up there along with the Lucha Brothers and SCU. These guys put on one hell of a performance. I thought to myself that Shima, just the amount of counters that he gave to Kenny Omega, it was just awesome. I thought it was really cool. The fact that Shima was able to go at it with Kenny Omega in this dreadful hot weather. This arena is called, I believe it's Darby's Theater or Darby's Arena. I forgot the name of it, but they were outside the arena, and so what it was, a lot of people were in the arena, and it was really hot. I don't know how these guys had the endurance to go at it, but story told, great match. The story was there. These guys were doing counters, a lot of move sets. Kenny Omega never fails to impress me. These guys put out one hell of a show, one hell of a performance. Shima, this is actually one of the first times, I think must be the first time I've seen Shima wrestle, and this guy can prove that he can go up against with guys like Kenny Omega, or maybe the Young Bucks in the future, or maybe throw him in up against the Lucha Brothers in the future. That's the thing that the good thing about this is that this is showcasing these wrestlers, that these guys can go at it even hot degree weather. So Kenny Omega picked up the victory on this one. Great matchup, awesome match. Chris Jericho, I want to be brief about it. Chris Jericho went to go get the mic, and he proceeded to taunt the crowd, and he insulted Florida, Jacksonville, Florida, and he was insulting, of course, Hangman Paige to build up the match between them. And so the match, well, there was no match, but what happened was that Hangman Page went out there and attacked Chris Jericho. A little bit of retribution, and a little bit of payback of what happened, earlier with Hangman Page getting attacked by Jericho. So he returned the favor. People went out to separate them, and they separated them, and then this proceeds to the next match, the main event, that is. The Rhodes brothers, Cody teaming up with his older brother, Dustin Rhodes, to take on the Young Bucks. Now, this match, it kind of makes me wonder if, this isn't a complaint. This isn't much of a complaint, but this is more of a, who are the heels and who are the baby faces in this one? Because the Young Bucks were taunting and making fun of the Rhodes brothers in some of these video packages before leading into Fight for the Fallen. I'm trying to wrap my head around it. I mean, who was the heel and who was the baby face in this one? And the Rhodes brothers, they were being really aggressive towards the Young Bucks in the match, and they kind of came off as kind of like the bad guys. And so I was confused who were the baby faces and who were the heels. I mean, are they both bad guys or what? And it looked like the Rhodes brothers were the baby faces in this one, because Cody needed Dustin Rhodes to be his tag team partner to go up against the Young Bucks. So one of my small complaints about it. But if anything, this match, I thought they told a great story, great match. Dustin Rhodes can still go. The guy, he's 50 years old. He can still go at it with the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks, basically, I think they brought the best out of the two guys. So this match, the Young Bucks won. And then after that, what happened was that the Young Bucks just told them that it was just nothing but pure competition. There was no offense. There was nothing bad about, no heat between, Dustin or Cody. So I think that the match was solid. One hell of a match, you know. And then at the end, Shad Khan and then the rest of the team from AEW, Luchasaurus, Kenny Omega came out. And what happened was that they showed that they raised over $150,000 for the victims for gun violence. And so they ended out the night with Kenny Omega saying, bye bye and hope to see you soon, et cetera, et cetera. So the show overall, the matches, I think everybody they all did a great, fantastic job. The only thing the only thing I'm a little bit shaky was Ali versus Brandi Rhodes, but other than that, the other matches were great. They were solid. Um, Another thing that I'm still a little bit, I know that Nick may have talked about this in his in the other show, the other reviews for Fighter Fest, and I'm pretty sure RKJ Man can agree with this. The announcers are still a little bit off. I mean, they have their moments where they get excited. They have their moments where they're like this. Sometimes they have their moments where they are, they're excited and they get you into the match or the show itself. JR, he had his moments where he was a little bit off, at least in my opinion. There were moments where I felt like JR was still like trying to find the words to, for some of these matches. And Excalibur, there were moments where he felt a little bit off or a little bit too quiet. The other announcer, Marvez, I believe that's his name. He, it looked like I think there was a little bit of improvement with him, if anything. So there was a little bit of improvement with that. The replays for AEW were being brought into this one, so I thought it was pretty cool that they did that. The production value, they still need some work on it, but it looked like there were some much more better improvements on this one than a Fighter Fest. I'll be honest with you, Fighter Fest, I actually consider it to be like an average show, but for Fight for the Fallen, I thought it was a solid show, awesome show. I'm pretty sure why. I think I know why, because they know that Evolve, Evolve, the show was happening right. It's probably happening right now, or it may be happening. It may have already. It's probably over by now, but I think the damn dog. So the show overall, if I want to give the show overall, the performers I give them like a solid B plus, and I give the production value a solid B minus. And the announcers, I think I had to give them still, like, to be fair, I still had to give them like a 6 out of 10. C plus. There's some improvements there, but if you want to make your show, if you want to make All Out successful, I suggest that they need to take some of these things into consideration in order to have their show, their pay-per-view solid. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be there at All Out. I think I may have never I never filled anybody about this, but I'm not going to be at All Out, but I'll be watching on pay-per-view. So I will be checking it out, being the scope out for some of these commentators, and of course the production value and how everything is, while Nick and the RKJ Man will be there to check out how it is live. So that should get us excited. But as for right now, it looked like my 15 minutes actually exceeded pass. So I'm going to try to cut it right now. But for right now, this is the Ring Generals, Eric Santos. And make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. We're going to be throwing a lot of good stuff in here on the YouTube channel. Eric Watts interview coming soon, the full interview, that is. We had a lot of fun at Bar Wrestling, Brian Cage's bachelor party a couple of days ago. It was awesome. And we're going to be throwing in a lot of good stuff for you, not only just interviews, but we're going to be throwing in some good stuff from shows, pay-per-views, so many others. And we are looking forward to it. As for right now, I'm going to be signing off, and I'll be seeing you real soon. Raise a glass in the sky and salute the Ring Generals.